The Blazers hold the 11th overall selection in the draft. You mentioned on Friday, and you had it Friday, that Blazers workouts are really starting to ramp up.
Yeah, they brought in a group that included Yegor Demon and a couple of the guys that you're expecting kind of in that range, and you're just like, okay. Um, as I understand it, the Blazers are going to have probably one more workout between now and the draft, and that will include guys that were supposed to be a part of that workout. That they weren't in that workout because they picked up a knock.
Okay.
So nothing serious, but it prevented those guys from being in what was kind of looked at as kind of like the workout of the cycle, not just for the Blazers, but just like the biggest workout of like dudes that could go anywhere from 6 through 14.
Yeah.
And you're like, wow, they got all those guys in there, huh? Like, okay. One of the guys that nobody's going to be able to work out is Noah Senge, who's playing over in Germany. They advanced in their playoffs. So he's actually a guy that is rising up as the most likely guy to be the disruptor in the top 10. That there's a team, whether it be Brooklyn, whether it be Toronto, that goes, hey, because he had his measurements done they had to have them done, but I think by Saturday was the last day for measurements for the European guys. Measured in, I believe, at 6'10" barefoot with just over a 7-foot standing reach, or not, it's gonna be 7-foot wingspan.
Jeez.
So he's actually taller than I think people thought. 6'10" barefoot. He's grown, I think, about 1.5 inches since last year. Because remember, Ratio Farm came here in the preseason with Asenge and Ben Saroff, the Israeli point guard. And he's somehow, like, even despite being kind of limited, I think, offensively, he just finds a way to produce. And I think he's a guy that people are looking at like, could he be Pascal Siakam?
How do you spell Noah Asenge?
So Noa, first name, is Noah, and then Asenge is Essengue.
Oh, boy, I was way off.
Ah, Samsonite.
Samsonite.
Was way off. But again, he measured, I think, longer than I think people thought, but also maybe a little shorter wingspan. Just seeing him in person, just because he looks so rangy, I was expecting kind of like a 7'2", 7'3" wingspan.
Boy. Yeah, 6'9", 194. I think the 194 makes him look a lot longer.
Yeah, well, he weighed in, I think, at 205.
Okay.
So he's an inch plus taller and 10 plus pounds heavier already than when he started the season.
All right.
So, and he's going to be the second youngest guy in the draft. Only Flag is younger than him. And Flag's birthday is December.
forward. All right.
Yeah, and he just does stuff, but it's kind of the mystery box. But leading up to drafts on the media side of things, when you start getting intel, whether it's talking to front offices or talking to scouts or talking to agents or depending on who you talk to, typically by now we usually have a pretty good understanding of how things are probably going to go.
No idea.
Throw that out the window right now.
Gone.
After 2, Philly is just an unknown. Like, what's Daryl going to do? I think the general belief is they're going to make the pick, but they are putting so many different things out there right now. Like, when you talk about smoke season, buddy, it's full on 5-alarm fires as far as the smoke that they're generating. Another team that is doing the same is the Brooklyn Nets, who have a metric crap ton of picks. I've heard of multiple promises from various agents and scouts and folks around, and I'm like, that seems kind of weird. That's not how the Nets operate. Not only that's not how they operate, that's something a little weird because they have so many picks, which means they have so much volatility because they could trade back, they could trade up, they could trade out. Like, you just never know. So why would you make promises? And I've heard of multiple promises that they've made. And I'm just like, that's weird. Like, it's one thing to maybe promise a guy with their second pick. I could see that because I think their second's like 17th. 17th or 18th, but like I could see that. Okay, that's around the range that you get those. It's a little more unusual to get promises in the top 10. Not unheard of, but certainly a little more unusual. But as you start to frame this, you start to kind of get an understanding of like who's might be available when the Blazers pick. And normally you'd be like, oh yeah, you have a pretty firm grasp on these 3 guys. Will almost certainly be available. That's not the case this year. Like, whether it's a guy like Kasparas Giakouchinas or Yegor Demin or Carter Bryant, or like you just kind of like name guy here. You don't know. You just don't know. Like, is Toronto going to be a team? Because, with Masai there, they've favored maybe going after some project kind of guys, whether it be, an OG Anunoby or Pascal Siakam or Scotty Barnes. Yeah, they took him higher, but like these are longer, rangier dudes, and that's kind of how they tried to make their entire team basically like 6'8", 6'9", and go down that path. Or do they go for something that's maybe a little more solid? And so, like because of ownership situation in Toronto and their desire to maybe get back into the fold a little bit, especially with a wide open Eastern Conference, does that change the style of how they do things? Does Brooklyn see themselves like kind of having to reach for the stars in front of them? Houston, everybody wants to point to them as a team for Kevin Durant. Gun to my head, I don't think the Rockets are going to go get Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
And if they do, they're not going to pay out the nose for him.
No. And this leads us to something that it caused a bit of a stir on Thursday when Anthony Simons went to social media and posted a photo of a hug between he and John Morant, and then him going up for a dunk against the Memphis Grizzlies. There was a lot of, Blazers, Ant, Memphis, what's going on here? Nothing came of that on Thursday or Friday. Saturday, still nothing. But yesterday, the Memphis Grizzlies did make a move, and that brought around everybody else coming back to, all right, are the Blazers going to get in on a deal? And today, sportsbetting.ag has odds for Ja Morant's next team. The Portland Trailblazers have 10-1 odds to have Ja Morant. Should we think these are connected? The Orlando trade where Desmond Bane goes to Orlando for 4 first-round picks, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, and Cole Anthony? Or is this a nothing burger?